right, fine. Now we're going.
Well, now I'm not going to do it.
Well, now I'm not going to do it. Yeah.
Because you're a tumor, you're a tumor. You're a tumor, you're a tumor. I was talking to both of you, by the way.
Yeah, well, that was assumed, I think.
I mean, God, you could say that about our channel sometimes.
There's volume.
You're a tumor.
You figure I'd get used to this at some point. Turn that off on a regular basis.
No. No.
Excuse me.
I don't think I will.
You won't excuse me?
No. I don't think I have the authority to do that.
Why are they
I think Joe just acknowledges that he doesn't have any authority.
No. Shit just kind of happens, and I'm just happy to not be caught up in most of it.
Most of it.
Most of it. You'll note my careful wording. Yeah.
So there.
We're gonna go with some big rock trad tonight, by the way, just for the record.
I'm gonna buck a trend and go with a Rickard's Rattler.
I shall also buck a trend and have the same drink I've had every goddamn night for the last couple streams.
I have not been able to do those Midnight Prairies lately. Every time I drink one, I'm like, oh, what? Why? How could I drink this the first time around? It's swill.
Is it like too? What is it? Is it too bitter or something for you now?
No, yeah, well, it's kind of almost like it's a sour kind of aftertaste type of like. I don't know.
But that's what these did to the River Valley stuff. Now when I go to drink the River Valley, I'm like, this is just not. It's not doing it. Nigel, only cardinals and higher have the power to bless. See, the thing is, the only person.
So apparently, I have to get higher than a cardinal.
Well, the only person who can prove that I'm not a secret cardinal is the Pope. Look it up; it's a fact.
A secret cardinal.
It's a meme. It's a meme I keep seeing recently.
I was also stretching for a bird joke, and I can't come up with one. So
I refuse everything that you just said, Jeff.
Oh, that's okay. So for those of you who are unaware, the Pope has the ability to appoint secret cardinals, and he apparently the authority is authentic even if the Pope is the only one who knows that they're a secret cardinal, including that person. So the only person who can prove that I'm not one is the Pope himself. That's the gist of the meme.
Just sitting there thinking it's a blue jay. Really, it's a secret cardinal.
You're really going for that bird?
I'm going to flog it till it's dead. That horse back there? Yeah.
Don't flog birds. Their poor little bodies can't take that.
That's why they have to get higher, so I can't reach them with the flog.
I just imagine you sitting at the base of a tree.
The only reason I'm not murdering birds right now is they're too far away.
They're just out of my reach.
Have you heard about guns?
I would like to subscribe to your newsletter, sir.
Oh, terrible.
Can I flog with these guns?
In a manner of speaking. The manner is yes. Petition to replace Blue Jay calls with the sound of a home run. I don't even know what to imagine for that. The sound of a home run? You mean like just air horns in a stadium?
Tell me more of these guns.
We're not allowed to say that word. We're on YouTube.
Guns?
Not that it matters, but
pew 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 pew. I mean,
yeah, it's like a super naughty word on YouTube nowadays.
Well, you know, maybe we're just talking about our muscles. Those sweet guns.
So on channels like Forgotten Weapons, which is a fantastic channel as far as the history of weapons development, by the way.
They probably use the term firearm or something constantly.
I've never clocked it.
Pews. I've heard a lot too.
Okay, fair enough.
That goes back to those whole Catholic cardinal things again with the pews. Does your church only have 3 pews? It's kind of small. You got to keep them low key nowadays. They'll get burned down if you're not careful.
They're all well, you know.
I was gonna say, to be fair.
Oh, I could make a very off-color joke.
Nothing about what we just said was fair.
No, to anyone involved, but you know, that's fair.
And again, Justin, Nigel, Dick Richards, thanks for joining us, guys. What are y'all carrying tonight? I guess we're going to talk about what we're carrying too. There was this last minute kind of throw in your face thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there sure was. Hey, Paul, why don't you show off what you're carrying?
Hey, Joe, why don't you show off what Paul's carrying? That's why we sent pictures
Yeah.
to you. Son of a bitch.
Oof.
Yeah, I'm carrying a Wee Knife Angst. Great.
Finally. It's smaller than I thought it was going to be.
I don't have it with me right now, but my Feist, it's like a half-inch longer than the Feist. It's tiny.
I knew it wasn't going to be like 4-inch tie light, but I had more in my brain, or like Joe's whatever show Lotto.
Yeah.
Oh,
Same.
Like
really?
That was kind of almost like not quite, but it was more that size I had in my brain until.
I just want to say the Shalotl is same size as a tie light.
So let's see.
Yeah. So like,
model. Yeah, this thing tapers really abruptly, like it's a friggin' needle.
It's a comfy knife though, like for the size.
Yes.
So one might say it's Sykesy.
Don't like that.
I'm not trying with the joke.
What?
Your
dagger tip? Your dagger tip is a little more Fairburn Sykes.
I see. I'm up to speed. I'm also carrying a.
Glad you could join us.
Tomahawk.
The Artisan Tomahawk.
Which isn't actually a tomahawk, it's a folding knife.
And a fixed blade. So you want to create confusion. Let's talk about a tomahawk that has two different versions and neither one of them are actual tomahawk.
And they don't look like each other.
And they don't really look like a tomahawk.
The blade kind of does.
That's
a fixed blade they stretched out a little bit more.
The blade is definitely in that same kind of semi-cleavery reverse tanto kind of shape. But like, and actually, now that I'm thinking about, the handle's the same shape. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
That's
it just
good way to start the evening. Yeah.
I think the point on the fixed blade tapers more. I don't think it's quite as stout as on your new pocket knife. But yeah, so we got a good deal on these artisan cleaver thingies. So we brought a couple into the shop. There's not very many, but yeah, I'm sure Paul will show his off and we can prepay for one from another location or something if we need to. So,
oh yeah.
And then your Wee Knife Angst you had on special order here for a while. It's been on your radar. Although you thought you were going to order what? The purple? Was there a purple?
There was a carbon fiber one that I was going to order with a black coated blade, but I skipped out on the black coated blade and went G10 so I could make it purple. I'm going to dye the gray purple.
Is the correct thing to do, I think. The gray doesn't look bad, but
no.
if purple's an option, you should take purple.
Yeah. Worst case, Ontario, I'll buy a gray one again. This thing's a sweet little blade. And I think I've mentioned it before, but I am definitely going to be sharpening the swedge on this thing. It is pretty thin back there, and the whole knife kind of tucks away into the handle, so there's no risk of getting cut.
Just because, it's probably me that needs to be the most inquisitive towards this. When you say you're going to sharpen the backside of it.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I am waiting until the work sharp comes in.
I was gonna say I have a work sharp at home, but I would feel real bad about screwing up the Angst blade myself.
After you do it the first time, it's not that bad the second or the third time, right? Like it's
yeah, pretty much, right?
It won't be the first knife I sharpen on it, that's for sure. But
yeah.
Anyway, I was just curious. Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah, I want to play with it. I've never done something like that, so it's kind of a next step.
For sure.
As far as that goes.
Dennis, you should introduce your knife.
Oh yeah. Yours is a big surprise, is it? Well, I've been talking.
It just leads into what we're talking about today. So,
I've been talking about this thing since the very beginning of the year, and I mentioned it at SHOT Show as like an honorable, hey, that's cool. And then at Blade Show again, they re-announced it, but I think they put a coating on it. It's the Boker Nesme. This thing is sweet as hell. Like, Yeah,
It's pretty
pinky
cool.
sits right on the back for me. So it actually locks in 4-finger grip really, really nice. You can do the indexing. And I am kind of a big of a fan of Nesmucks. So yeah, as far as size goes, a little smaller than, again, what I thought it was going to be.
That one was smaller than I thought it was going to be.
So, but like in size reference, because I'm a sucker for Boker Voxnays designs, there's a Boker gnome for people who know the reference size of a Boker gnome, but not that much.
I mean, it's better
Bigger.
than the gnome's like 1-finger grip that you get off of that handle. So.
Well, like I said, I can get 3 no problem, and the pinky actually sits on the butt end really comfortably. So, and if you were to, like, it's got a big lanyard tube. If you were to do some sort of minimalist box knot thingy, something like that, you could probably find a grip that works. So, yeah. So D2, not a bad price. Saw it in the catalog at the same time Paul saw his angst. So here we are. Now we'll notice something about the tie-off job on the sheath. Yeah, that's fantastic, by the way. That's Boker Plus at its finest. But if that's all I have to complain about with this knife,
I'm not trying to see. Oh, there it is. Yeah,
I think I'm coming away clean on if that's the major issue.
Are you just gonna chop it a little short? Maybe put a dab of super glue or something?
That's probably exactly what I'm going to do. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So, and it's fully stitched, and I even double checked on the inside because I thought maybe I had cut it because they did nothing on the inside of the sheath to protect the stitching either because Boker Plus. But it's, I thought I sliced it within the first day of me getting it, and then I actually looked on the inside. I'm like, no, the stitching's completely fine. It was just a really crappy tie-off job after they were done the stitching. Yeah. So.
Okay. That's
tie it off a little better, crazy glue it down. I might use some leather glue in between this gap here because there is a little bit of gapping there that you can improve on. But again, for a Boker Plus, if the knife itself is walking away clean and there's no issues with it and all I can bitch about is the sheath, I'm going to call it a win. So
yeah, not a bad way to go. And it is a nice looking knife too. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's a classy little piece. Yeah. So
and Voxnez might have the best touch mark in the business.
Oh yeah, I'll zoom back in on that guy. Yeah, it's kind of cute. I don't know.
I haven't got it there yet either, but I'll mention that my sheath did not come this welted 2 days ago. So yeah, we're working on it. So
okay, fair enough.
Getting into shape slowly but surely.
Yeah, it's what I do.
It's good stuff. So today I was back to the 707, specifically because we have a ZT to talk about tonight, and I wanted to do some side-by-side comparisons because they're pretty similar knives in a few different ways. Plus, it's been a while since I've actually carried this thing. I've been really attached to my crossbones lately, and the North Arms, so it's nice to go back to this thing.
Hear that, ZT? A crossbones kicked the 707 out of his pocket.
It's not a fair thing. It's not fair that
I didn't say it. I was just hashtag ZT.
Hey,
hashtag slinging hamsters.
You literally just said it, but that's okay. If it makes them feel better, it was made by Lion Steel. Not well, but anyway.
It probably doesn't.
No, not really. Anyway. That'll be for another time. And did we want to show the abomination that Dennis cursed us with knowledge?
The what?
The abomination that we pulled up before streaming here.
Oh,
we don't have to. That's completely not relatable. We can just leave that gem for a later time if we need to.
Okay, we'll leave it for now. It's disgusting. You'll all hate it.
We have enough time cutting ourselves short in the hour and a half that we do it. We don't need.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
5 to 7 minutes of garbage, because that's what it is, folks.
Just garbage. Well, anyhow, the 762. Threw up a picture of it there. One of 2 or 3 new items that ZT released for this year. Yeah.
2.5.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if one of them was a hanky or something.
Well, I don't think they came out with any new gear, but the 308, but black tiger stripe. So if you want to count that as a new knife, but 2 new designs. They're still beating Spyderco. That's Spyderco was so unoriginal. They went back in time, re-released a Sleesh Bowie and a Shemp.
I'm bitter. I am so bitter.
Since 1976. I wonder what models from that year they'll come out with.
Fuck.
Sorry.
Okay. But if they re-release the Worker with S90V, I'd buy it.
Oh, that's such a gross knife. There's no way.
It's horrible, but I'd buy it. It's the Worker. Come on. It's first major release from them, right?
Piece of history, is that what you were trying to tell me?
Yeah, that's my excuse. The clip on that thing is stupid, but that's okay.
We want to bring up mistakes in history because
oh, that's harsh. But Spyderco didn't release anything this year, so fuck him. I'm not going to defend him that hard.
We were talking about Cardinals earlier, like.
Oh no! I'm glad we're not making ad revenue money from YouTube because we wouldn't be making it now. That's okay.
I would have to filter myself so much. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, just you.
Wow.
Of all the heinous stuff that's said on our channel, most of it's said by Dennis. That's not entirely true.
No, that's far from true.
I was gonna say I thought I could take that title.
There's
I say terrible things.
Let's talk about Joe with his curses. Like seriously.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
Talking about horrific things.
Dick Richards carrying the Stackable Pygmy Warrior and a TDI. You have a theme for the day, my friend.
Now the serrations on the Pygmy, we know we're familiar with the Spyderco Pygmy, the serrations on the back, but can you get one that's fully serrated? Can you get one on the front too? And then just the Tanto tip is plain still on the end of the reverse Tanto-y.
I think the Pygmy Warrior just comes in out of stock. It came in the one variation, right?
Yeah. There isn't one, but that would be awesome. If I'm just saying.
Fully serrated both sides.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll ever do like an iteration of the Warrior with LC200N, because it was always out of their H1 steel, or was it VG10 for the original? I can't remember.
No, the original one was H1. Is this also H1? I thought they went to
BD1. You are correct. It is CTS BD1.
Look, I know things.
Yeah. I wonder the full-size Warrior, if they even have it listed here. Oh, they do.
No, anyway. The one thing I will say, the full-sized Warrior, like the serrations were nasty on the back of that. They would cut you if you just looked at them wrong. Whereas the Pygmy Warrior, it's wedgy. Like it's a saw, it's a grater on the back of it. Yeah. Which there's a time and a place for both.
Mission-specific tooling, huh? Yeah. Jesus.
If you make that thing out of LC200N, you'll probably sucker me into buying one.
I can't get over it. Okay, so they actually, I don't know if people that were sidetracking on Pygmy Warriors, but the Pygmy Warrior actually had 2 layers of G10. So you could keep both layers of G10 on the handle, but you could also offset them one way or another, and make them slimmer or make them fatter on one side and the other, depending on how your handle grip is. Yeah, they had 2 layers. So I always thought they were kind of a chunky monkey, but I didn't want to mess with an original one on the shelf type of thing, so I never did actually take out a dual layer. I don't even know if it talks about it in there.
It does. Actually, it's in the second paragraph here. One of the Pygmy's most distinctive features is its stackable handle construction. That's okay. I had no idea.
Yeah, so that was kind of a cool thing where they were like, if you think a Bravo is too chunky, you can turn the handle into an LT version type of like it's or whatever, right? So yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I forgot they had this.
You say 762. You say.
Yes, we can go back to that now.
See, if we had to show the other thing, oh man.
Yeah, maybe it's best we did leave that. That's okay.
Anyway, continue on.
Yeah, so. It's similar. It's similar to the 707. I've got a comparison picture here. But
similar how?
Okay, so
other than the tuned detent,
it's the profile. The edge geometry, the curves of the handles. They're very reminiscent of each other. There are differences, but it's like they took the same profile and just push and pulled limits until you came up with something different enough. And it makes sense. This is an in-house It's an in-house ZT design.
Yeah, okay, so the two finger trails on the inside and kind of, but I don't know. Yes, they're both in-house designs, and I guess you can see a ZT vibe a little bit on.
Talking specifically about, sorry, Paul, go for it.
I was just gonna say, if you hide, like if you put your hand over and hide the spine of the 762, the edge profile is very similar. Like the actual cutting edge.
So top half versus bottom half of the knife type of idea. Yeah. And actually there's a bit of a hint other than, I don't know. Yeah, I'm with Nigel on your stretching, Joe. It's
I really don't think so. There's where is this for comparison's sake? So on this side here, I guess I'll show that side just to match the photos. So this area of the handle here really does match up well with how the forward area on the 762 looks. But
it's more Contigo.
But it's more accentuated. No, I wouldn't. The Contigo has a much more harsh curve before it comes to that secondary lip.
Just from a technical standpoint, I think Joe's actually onto something in the sense that if you're in a day job where your day job is to go and design knives for a knife company, you're going to have a design, and then you're going to start tweaking around with that. You might have multiple different designs, but when you have a day where you're just like, I don't know what the hell to make, you're going to grab one of your old designs and start playing off of that to see what you might be able to come up with.
Well, and this almost might be because, I mean, we all know the difference, like with the 850, or like I was going to bring it up later, there's another knife that had the dual detent right off the bat, which was the 427. And it's like, again, I think like,
this thing looks
like you're going to take the influence from the other designers you're working with. So whether it's a Sinkovich or whether it's a Rexford, because I see some Sinkovich vibes. I've had customers actually, this is the newest Sinkovich type of thing, right? So like you're taking some of the people that you're working with and some of the knives that you've already produced, whether it's a 456 or an 850 or a whatever type of idea, like you could throw a 462 up there, a Persian-y one, and you would see some double finger choils and some action with that 762 that you even see in a 462. They're both, the last two digits are the same. Come on, man. Like it's so
I just mean with these
like the offspring of the 707 and the 850 to me, to be honest with you.
What's that, sorry? The 707 and the 850? Yeah.
It looks like those two things had a baby and this is what came out.
But then you got sub frame lock compared to normal frame lock. Like
I was strictly talking about the profile, like the silhouettes of these knives. They're very different knives in hand. I will say 100%. They feel very different. I'm happy I went with the 707, but
when you say top half and bottom half, I can't actually see that. I bet you if you were to do some sort of photoshopping where you took the bottom of the 707 and actually like overlaid it onto a 762.
Yeah,
there's definitely some design, like the back of the butt end of the knife, the pommel is not quite the same. There's other things.
There are differences, but there are a lot of similarities. It's just it definitely reads like a ZT in-house design if you're going by their previous iterations.
Anyway, you can see the in-house, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And
it was a collaboration with Sinkovich, and he's like, no, I'm not a fan of these two detent things. That's why my last prototype didn't go to market. Just leave my name off of it. You can just put the ZT original. It's yours. Go ahead.
Oof. Must really hate it to turn up that
because
revenue.
It's an insult for ZT to be like, compared to a Sinkovich design. I'm sure the ZT designers are really offended that I made that reference. It's You can look at that a positive thing. It all depends on how you spin it, man.
Yeah, spin indeed.
It's called gaslighting.
That's okay, fair enough. But I was gonna say it's a bit harsh, but no, it's maybe accurate.
I'm just super curious now, Joe. How much does your 707 weigh?
I have a scale. I can go look, but rather than that, I'll look at ZT's website and see what they say.
I'm on ZT's website right now myself.
Oh, okay.
Let's play that game.
Oh.
2.3. Okay, that's the other notable for this little son of a bitch is it's 2.9 for how big this is. I think that's the biggest thing for me about this knife is just like how much cutting performance you get for how light this knife is.
Yeah, it's a nice knife. I was saying to Paul earlier, if the opening action on the 762 was like my 707, I would probably be saving up for the 762. We'll get there.
So, well, let's get there, man.
I have pictures.
I don't like the 707. I actually think the exact opposite. And most people lean with you, Joe. I'm 100% like, I've heard the feedback, and most people are like, it doesn't feel the same action as a 707. But for a man who likes a sloppy detent, that 762 is an improvement, man. Like, it really is. I've got enough finger pressure that it'll pop out. It's not slow. Dude. And it's got way better of a drop shot action because of the weight on the blade that a lot of people complained about with the 707. A lot of people complained about the action, the drop shot.
I don't know if I'd even call it drop shot.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Like, this isn't... Okay, so...
No, but compared to a 707, the 762 falls closed much easier.
Yes, it does. But I also don't give a shit about a drop shutty detent. Like,
that's fair. Yeah. But I'm saying for the people that we're doing reviews for...
Yeah. Most people are going to be looking for
Sometimes their opinion matters just as much as yours, Joe.
No. I just mean... fuck them, okay?
Christ, man. That was a big complaint for the original 707. Right? What's that, Joe? Or what's that, Paul?
I said the comment section is for their opinions.
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, yeah, what do you guys think about detents? Do you guys like a really snappy detent, or are you like Dennis? Do you like sloppy seconds whenever you go to open up your knife?
Well, okay, that was half of my point. Jesus freaking Christ.
Obviously, I have my own biases, but...
The second half was a drop shot action.
Yes, and because of the weight of this blade,
that's what a lot of people complained about, right?
It's the same stock thickness on this guy, right? Like it's like 3 millimeters or so.
I'm not 100% sure on stock. Do they have? They have blade thickness is 0.121 on the 707 or 762, so 0.31 of a centimeter.
So 3.1 mils. Okay, so that's pretty. That's pretty average. That's not bad. But it got a little bit more stock thickness towards the center portion. Yeah, it does have a better drop shot action, and I'm not saying that the opening action is bad, but I do find that it's faster.
Sloppier.
Yeah, I do.
It doesn't load up as much as a 707. Yeah. It doesn't.
It opens every time, but it's a slow, lethargic open.
Whereas even some of the guys in our chat, or like that show up in our chat quite often, Once Upon a USN, Jared Cog, blah, blah, blah. Everyone has agreed with you, Joe. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's as far as the opening action goes, right?
Yeah.
But you did hear a lot of reviews, and I did hear a lot of people as well when they were talking about the 707 when it first came out, and they're used to a hinderer where you can take that knife and just release the lock bar and just type of thing. And I just saw several customers do that and then look at me going like, I'm like, yeah, that knife won't do that type of thing, right? Like,
and I guess it's kind of irritating too when you have knives with stock that's this thin, like 2.5 millimeters, that you can get a drop shot action. It's like, why can't I have that with a thicker, heavier blade that should have more momentum? The double detent. I think we need to talk about the double detent now.
The old double detent.
So the main reason why Sinkovich refused to put his name on this. I
just want a quick shout out to Cal in chat. What's going on?
Hey, man.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, man.
Nice to see you.
Indeed. He likes them crunchy detents, just like
crispy.
Yeah.
Crispy.
As you should.
Need to put more milk on there, man.
So...
Captain Crunch, man.
This window isn't just a decorative element that they threw in, although it looks very pretty, and I do like it. I love the nested double. It kind of reminds me of like a Star Wars bay window from one of the Star Destroyers. Like it just kind of has that geometric vibe. I really dig it.
My favorite feature of this knife.
Yeah, and the anodizing is, again, top-notch. Same thing with the lock bar. I think they did a fantastic job with it. ZT and Kershaw have the best blue anodized color out of any production knife company outside of ProTech, I'd say. But I'm just a really big fan of how deep they can get that blue. But that's actually where the double detent is hidden. I have a picture here. Oh, that's just the reverse. Yeah. So I was trying to shine a flashlight in here. So you can see that's the inside of the window here, and the exterior of that frame comes up, and there's a detent ball That's what prevents the knife from dropping open from the closed position. So
Yeah,
because it's
Well,
constantly
constant pressure.
Yeah.
Pressure.
And
separate
Yeah.
from the lock bar, right?
yes, separate from the lock bar, which has its own detent ball, which is really just used to space it away from the blade without having a kind of a crappy feeling when you're opening it. Because I don't know if you've ever played with a liner lock or a frame lock, one of the like a really old model that didn't have a detent ball. It feels weird, especially when you're used to literally like all modern liner locks and frame locks having detent balls. If detentless is strange, it's a strange experience.
Detentless.
Yeah, ballless even. This one though, it's basically
A
double the
strange
detent.
experience. I don't recommend it.
No, I don't. 1,000%. But yeah, this does prevent things from being a nice drop shutty sort of as it would be otherwise.
But I noticed, and straight out of the box too, that the 762 did seem like it was a lot easier to get that action on. Now, maybe that's because they had to tune the detent system to compensate for that, and they still haven't got it kind of dialed in. So maybe too crispy on the 707, maybe not crispy enough on the 762. They need a porridge is just right situation that they're still working on, right?
Yeah, and I imagine it takes a ton of R&D to get to the point of being able to figure out, okay, this is how far this piece of steel hardened to this level needs to be bent in order to put X pressure on the blade. And then we need to match it on the other side. I imagine that takes a ton of effort to get right. But at the same time, the action is, I wouldn't say it's forgivable because like Dennis was saying, he actually enjoys it. But I do think there is more work that needs to be done. I think they can get better results if they keep working at it. I don't know. I've never really. I don't have too many problems with locking frame locks shut. So the double detent system is kind of it's a non-starter for me. I don't really care that it's there. But this seems like something they're going to go forward with. Like, it seems like this is something they're going to continue doing on future releases. So maybe this is just a tester to see how well the knife sells.
Well, and like I said, if they continue to work on it, improve it, whatever type of thing, until they actually get it dialed into the point where it does have that happy medium of crispy action and not like two-hand closing.
And I don't know about you guys, but this is the only one that I've handled. Like, we only had the one come in, right?
Yeah, that's because the price point's silly as shit on this thing.
So, okay. So, do you want to talk about price point a little bit? Because I was talking...
Yeah, it's kind of where I was segueing, but yeah, roll with it. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah, good shit. Okay, well, okay, so
quick shout out to Mr. Fisk in chat.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, bud.
Hey, Fisk, glad you could join us.
So
we're not talking about a CRKT tonight.
Nope.
Good.
So maybe you can hang around for a couple extra. No.
Here, if I show off my Sabenza, will you stay a little bit longer?
I thought you were going to show off your crossbones because it kicked the 707 out of your pocket. But
it didn't this week. I carried my 707.
Check out this CRKT.
Fuck.
We know how Joe feels about Fist Joyous, apparently. But anyway.
Hey, no, I'm trying to get him to stay. Come on, I don't want to scare him away.
No, it's all good.
So you think $500 is silly for this? You think it's silly?
MSRP is $400 on their website.
Oh, okay.
Normally $400 down to $320. Yeah. They even are slashing their own prices on their own website.
So, okay. How do you feel about the 707 price point?
It wasn't that hot either, but what was it? It's $310 American down to $248 on their website. That's an easier pill to swallow, but it's a sliver of a knife too, right? Like,
so I think for knives like this, you're paying more for the machining effort and time than you are paying for the. You're not really paying for the materials at this point, because you can get a 357 ZT that's using 20 CV and G10, and it's going to cost you like a little bit over half of what these knives cost. So I don't know if we're necessarily paying for materials at this point.
Oh, no, not at
You're
all.
paying
Like,
American wages is what you're paying there.
well, partly, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of machining on the carbon fiber, and there's a blue anodized liner that doesn't need to be there. And I mean, like, it's
And there's
That
two
whole
different
lock bar, yeah.
well,
there's two
not
different
not
layers of
even the
titanium.
blue liner on the face side.
Yeah.
The silver one is the one that is actually the tune detent, right?
Yep. Yeah,
In the and yes, it's pretty, but you're paying for all of that, right?
So, and Paul had mentioned earlier, but what was your pleroma going for?
5. Yeah. So yes, it's whether you
But
want it or not.
if that pleroma was made in the States, I could see that going for $1,000. Easy.
Okay, I was going to actually bring that up too. I personally, there's some things going on right now with pricing, and I don't know if some of it has to do with actual cost and materials and how much of it has to do with what the market will stand. And right now, the Chinese prices are going up and up on things because their quality is really, really good on a whole bunch of that stuff. But that means that if that's an American-made knife, I can price it that much more because you're getting the same materials, but it's American-made. So now
Oh, we lost you.
Oh, right when he was making his point.
Mid rant.
Oh, that's brutal. Okay, well, hopefully he comes back in a sec.
I like the freeze. It's a good look for him.
It encapsulates his personality perfectly, I have to say. No,
Yeah.
no. But kind of to where he's going with this. Voking knives, as far as I can tell, they don't actually exist anymore. But this is M390 ceramic ball bearing, ceramic detent, titanium, made in China. I bought this for roughly 200 Canadian, so 170 to 160 American probably is what this is going for. If you contrast CRKT, just an American company, you're
all of a
looking at.
sudden,
Oh,
No.
oh, you're back.
Oh, he's back.
Hey.
Anyway,
hey,
continue your rant. It was such a sad point to drop off.
I think pretty much what I was saying is what the market will take, and that if an American designer, if a Chinese guy can get away with $300, $400, now all of a sudden I can get away with $500.
Yep.
Type of thing, right? Like it's because that's what's going to do it, right? So,
but on the flip side of that is you're paying those American wages, so they're probably getting less of a margin on that same knife made in America versus made.
Okay, so
overseas.
it kind of depends on that. I'm not the owner of a large company. I don't know the economy of scale for a machine shop. But when you take a look at knives that are almost 100% machine made, there's really not a lot of handwork going into these things, which means you're paying for CNC operators to do their jobs correctly. You can have one guy supervising like 5 machines, and maybe that's pushing it a little bit, but you could have one guy or a team of 3 people supervising a bunch of machines at once. And if most of the handwork goes into things like anodizing this stuff, then I don't know. I think after a certain point, you're starting to make a lot of money on these knives because.
and if you look at the Benchmade walkthrough, that's the 3-part walkthrough of the Benchmade factory. That's exactly what it is. There's a whole bunch of guys supervising milling machines, type of thing, right? So,
which is fine. I'm happy to pay money to North American companies, keep that money somewhat local. Like I'm all for that, and I think that's not a bad idea. But you do have to understand that like there's not a team. There's not teams of people making these things. It's usually teams of people running machines that do the work.
And yes, and the wages for those machines definitely make a difference, but it's not sitting there on an assembly line with each guy putting each part together.
It's not the same thing.
There's a supply and demand thing. There's also an importation thing as well for like getting them here, and then especially over the last couple of years, the importation has gone up more and more to try to get things overseas.
Man, his connection is just not doing well today. But I do agree with what he was saying. It's getting more and more expensive to send materials to China to be machined, to be sent back. I know that tariffs have gone up in a lot of cases. I myself am paying a lot more for carbide bits to make my own stuff at home. So it kind of sucks, but a lot of these prices are going up, and we're just seeing a reflection of the current world situation.
I know Nigel was talking too about the fact that like C-cans. You're welcome back.
He's back. Yeah.
Sea-Cans often will come over from China here, but a lot of them don't make the trek back. So even like shortage of that can increase the cost of goods and stuff like that too.
Yeah. There's a lot of hidden factors that go into these things. And honestly, especially ZT these days, they really seem to be pushing themselves as more of a, I'm kind of loath to say it, but like a lifestyle brand. Like they're not really pushing stuff that's affordable for field workers to do their jobs correctly. These are collectible high-end pieces with very, very crisp, nice machining and beautiful tolerances and wonderful, wonderful finishing techniques, but they're not like, I don't know. It's not the same thing as like Cold Steel pumping out like Recon 1s, you know? It's not.
Look at their videos. Look at ZT's videos that they post. Like even on the 762, there's a little clip and a video there. Yeah. And all it is a lifestyle commercial.
Right? And that's it. It's even reflected in the marketing.
If you look at the video that's on the 357 or the 30
lifestyle commercial too.
What's that?
Benchmade is a lifestyle commercial usually too.
Yeah.
But not as hard in the paint as ZT and Kershaw have been going lately. No, have you watched, like even right now on the 762, if you like, I'm not saying bring it up because it's ZT's
fair.
video
I did
and
watch
whatever.
I did last.
The Kershaw's ones, things like that. The 707 was one of them where the guy, like half the video was a guy adjusting his cufflinks, getting in his sports car. It had nothing to do with the freaking knife. Like it was.
Yeah. And
like, it was so bad. But what I was going to say is on the flip side to that, the 308 to 357, also a lifestyle commercial that they have. But if you look at those, it's military boys shooting guns and blah, blah, blah. Like they are putting these lifestyle brands on. Yeah.
Which, okay, so on the one hand, yes, it means higher prices. It certainly means that they've got a more prestige element, and it means that they're going to be leaning towards a certain clientele where they can make the most of their markup, right? But the other hand, this means that they're going to come up with more and more premium goods. So hopefully we'll end up seeing more and more nicely finished models using more exotic materials. So this could be a good thing, but ultimately it's not the same as like Benchmade marketing their Griptilian lineup, right? Like that's kind of, I've often heard the Griptilians referred to as like the entry level to the high end for the sportsman enthusiast who just needs a really good knife, but they don't need anything super flashy. Like that's kind of the difference here, you know?
What I was going to say with Benchmade, when they're pushing a lifestyle, it's usually an outdoors style lifestyle. Hunting, fishing, camping.
Yeah.
They're,
Joe,
guns,
can you zoom out on that picture that you've got right now?
Yeah.
Because I'd like to talk about how gross that clip is.
Okay.
Bam, there it is. Check out that deep carry option.
Deep carry? What the hell are you talking about? No, but
okay, so here's the thing. No,
it's not the first
not
time.
Even yours.
No, I know.
Pull out a 456. No. Pull out a 456. That has the same clip and the same butt end as that knife does.
Yeah, it's because it was designed by the same guy.
It's got and then they put a ZT original.
I think we're on to something.
But the clip and the triangular back and everything about it pulls out of the handle the exact same way. Thanks for bringing it up a competitor and not our own website. Thanks, Dick.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I wasn't even paying attention, to be honest. Whatever. Yeah, there you go.
Who's in charge around here?
There you go, ZT's website.
So.
Yeah. So
ZT clip at least is straight. The 0055 has a clip that's very similar in shape, though, with that weird hump in it.
It's a pretty...
with the offset. Yeah. I'm talking more about the positioning on the butt end, but you're right. The actual clip is slightly different. Yeah.
So they do have a lot of... Oh, well, I'll go back to the... Where the hell was that? There we go. They do have a lot of the knife actually exposed. Deep carry is nice, but I honestly don't care as much as you guys seem to give a shit. Like, it's... I don't know why.
There's a line, and it gets to the certain point where enough knife is sticking out of my pocket that if you sit down funny, if you like have any sort of twist, that knife wants to come out that much more because it's already out to a certain degree, right? Like
and I guess this knife does use pretty smooth carbon fiber under the clip, so it's not like there's a lot of gription keeping it in place in your pocket. So Okay, fair enough.
There's also something to be said about being able to grab your knife by the butt end and pull it into your pocket.
Yeah, and I think probably less so on a G10 because it grabs your pocket a little bit more. But I've had things slip out of my pocket that were not deep carry options.
That's
Yeah,
not
well,
exactly.
yeah,
I'm-
for everyone else who owns a PM2, because this chat isn't just about you, Paul.
Sure it is.
I think
You're all
that's
in my
going to
head.
be our title for.
I'm trying to think of an instance where
Knife reviewers finally think of
No, you're
their
all thinking
audience.
of my imagination.
not a chance, Dennis. Not a fucking chance.
Not a chance. Not in this world.
Not in this subset of reality. I can't actually think of a time where I've had one of my knives slip from my pocket where it wasn't deep carry. I'm trying to. I know there must have been. Yes, with my Sebenza.
I know it's happened to Black Frost, I believe, with his 770. I think it was his 770. Or his, yeah.
This isn't
350 maybe, yeah.
This isn't a super like deep carry clip, but it's not particularly shallow either. It's not like up to here or anything.
That one's not as extreme.
I
Like if you
think
look at
it's-
how much butt end of that ZT is sticking out, that's a lot of knife sticking out of your pocket.
Yeah.
Like both those screws and up.
Now, here's the thing. ZT can make a super deep carry clip and can do it very well. So the fact that they didn't here is honestly kind of a piss off. Like,
now, I will say, because I have, and Fisk unsubscribed, but that's just because someone was talking about it. I was actually defending the Zemenza clip, so I'm not taking the blame for this.
No.
MXG, and this one isn't an over the top, but don't you, Paul? Did you get an MXG for a ZT?
I got an MXG for my my Spyderco, but I do have intentions to get some ZT ones for my double
this
a couple others.
Yeah, this will fit that same 2-hole pattern that
So-
the 450s, the 452, whatever type of So
I will say there is an argument to be made that having a clip start further up the handle means it's going to be a slightly more comfortable in the palm of your hand because there's a place for your hands to swell around the clip. I understand the argument, but I also completely disagree with it because there's so many deep carry clips in my collection that feel wonderful in my hand.
What's that rook knife that you think is good to hold in your hand? Sorry,
it's not good, but it's acceptable for me. But it's whatever.
That milled clip is actually contoured really nice on yours. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and anything that's got the spoon on the bottom of it too, that has that swoop, like
the native, the really heavy.
Not even like the 762's got a bit of it. I'm thinking more like that new Highball XL that we just played with. Like
that's got a lot of scoop.
There's a ton of it. Yeah, I'm looking at stuff in my collection that might have. Yeah.
If you have an example, pop her up for sure.
I'm just looking. I don't really think I do. I mean, the bullpup, I guess, a little bit, but it's not even that extreme, right? It's
yeah.
I'm sorry. I just read Mr. Fisk's comment in chat about a deep carry clip for a Sebenza.
I have mixed feelings.
Lynch clip for a Sebenza. All right.
It's not stock, but my heart says yes. Yeah, it's a romance novel about Mr. Fisk and his Sebenzas.
A romance novel?
Just put it on like the redheaded Sebenza that we know you have. There's one. I don't know which one it is in his collection, but there's one of those ones that's just like just there's something off about that one. Just put it on that one. He's already just
So I want to see a deep carry ZT clip that is anodized. Because cool, yeah, sure, you put more blue on the side that already had a lot of blue on it, but goddamn, you couldn't have made it a deep carry.
Are you
a knife that's 500.
Saying there's too much blue?
No. I'm saying it's not deep carry enough for a $500 pocket knife that I really don't want slipping out of my pocket. Yeah, that's just my my takeaway on that is you should have done better.
My issue with it not being deep carry has more to do with the fact that knife comes to a pretty sharp point at the butt end,
and that's sitting above your pocket.
So, like, if you're gonna have something that's not deep carry, if it's blunt, it's not nearly as intrusive as a pointy end that's gonna jab into your fucking hip bone or something.
Like the 804. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Yeah. I agree 100%. I've actually thought that about a few knives in my collection. It's like, wow, I really wish this just sat a little bit deeper because of that point. And it's not often, but it'll happen occasionally. Actually, as I look around at the knives I have out, they're all pretty much blunted. Is that a subconscious decision I've been making? I wonder.
The joke is terrible.
Should I ask?
It's in chat.
Okay.
It's good. It's good.
Wired guitar,
Oh.
so
That's terrible.
who's got
So,
buy?
I'm done for the. I think I'm done for the night, guys. So that's about enough. No. Okay, so do you think the $500 price point is justified?
Okay, let's go back to the American suggestion with just 400.
Okay, sure. The American do you think 400 American is justified? A
No,
justified
it's
ask.
ridiculous. But we've already kind of went over this when it went Chinese pricing, American pricing, blah, blah, type. But like, they're getting away with it because ZT's getting away with $400 to $500 price knives on a regular basis lately.
I feel about this knife the same way that I felt about the Drunken, as far as the price point goes. The Drunken's even worse because it's $550.
Well, Sigovich actually put his name on that one, so it was an extra couple $100 compared to this one. Right? So
Fuck.
But
sorry.
Like,
is it a nice knife? Yes.
Didn't buy the Drunken because of the price on it.
If this was $100 less, 100 less American, would you think that's better suited, or do you think that's too cheap?
We're talking about this one or the Drunken.
Oh, well, both,
Yes.
sure. But let's this one, which we're talking about, yeah. The 7.62.
Yeah, $100 less, I'd probably.
But then you'd have to question all those other ZT's price points.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can't do that though. Like
no.
They have to price accordingly to everything else in their catalog.
Yeah.
So that's why this gets the price that it gets. It has nothing to do with the knife itself or who puts its name on it or whatever. It's just it has to fall in.
Knives,
what's that?
Some of those other knives should probably drop in price a little bit.
For sure they should. I'm not saying that, but they're getting away with it and they're being successful with selling the 707 for the price it's at, so they can put this into a bigger knife, more materials, more machining, and pay even more money for it. Right? Like it's the bug out situation where the bug out has made the price of every other Benchmade higher because you have to price all your knives accordingly. And people are getting away with paying too much money for a bug out, which means I'm going to pay too much money for every other Benchmade that's on the market. Yeah.
I mean, I would say fair enough. It's not really fair,
you
but it makes sense.
You can't really say, like, would you pay, like, is this knife too expensive? Because then every other knife in ZT's lineup would also be, like,
okay, let's consider this knife in isolation relative to the rest of the market. How about that? This knife...
To Detent system, so it's still not. This is innovative crap, and then whenever they come out with innovative crap, they want to pay more money for it, right? And it's $600 integrals.
I mean, okay, yes. Yeah. Sure.
As far as CT's knives, and the biggest sticking point for me usually is the cost.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Quite often it's like, that's a nice knife, but price tag. Yeah. So
that's why I didn't
interrupt you guys to...
No. It's a valid point. I mean, there's a reason I didn't buy my 804 new, and I personally think it's probably, if not my favorite, damn near close to one of my favorite knives.
Now, I'll say, because I also own an 804, I'll say that I'm now owning it for the last year or so, that I would have now owned, like, having secondhand experience and knowing how nice the 804 actually is. I probably would have paid full retail for it if you told me I went back and had the chance to buy it, knowing what I know now about how nice that knife actually is. I probably would. But you don't know that until you actually own and use it, right?
That's just it. Not every ZT knife is that nice. Like, there are some misses, but...
Is it so 470 with the marbled carbon fiber?
That others...
Sigovich.
Yeah. That's a nice knife.
The other Sigovich. Yeah.
I have a thing for Sigovich, okay? I like his shit.
As you should.
We know you do.
And his knives.
I'm just gonna... We didn't really talk about it, but I got a picture of the spine here. They put so little effort into the lanyard situation there. So they have these nice 3 barrel spacers, which are the same barrel spacers they use on the 707. Let's get some more light in here. The 707, but they anodize them blue. And then they stuck this crappy little peg on the back end for you to tie off some, not 550 because that's too thick, some microcord or something like that to hitch a lanyard. Like the Sebenza, I was saying earlier, I think that the Sebenza lanyard, which I've removed here, but solution would have been better, where you had a lanyard peg, had a hole through that peg, and you could tie a lanyard to it. That would have been a perfect solution here. This looks really crappy. Like, really crappy.
If you're going to do a pin like that, in my opinion, you almost need to do like a milled kind of recess around that pin.
In which case
encapsulates it.
In which case you're making a backspacer. In which case you're not using these nice barrel spacers anymore, right? So it'd be a different look altogether. But I do agree with you 100%.
I don't think this knife needs a lanyard though. With that much knife hanging out of your pocket, you can get it out easy.
If I bought this knife, the first thing I would do.
To design a part of this knife at least.
Christ!
But you're designing anymore.
Well, the 707 doesn't have a lanyard too, right? Like, there's nothing on here that you could really attach a lanyard to.
You know what this reads as to me? It reads as somebody that was designing the knife accidentally put the stop pin in the wrong place, misplaced it in the design,
and just left
put
it.
a new one in, and just left it there. And they were just like, "Yeah, okay. I mean, he's got it right there in the drawing. I guess we're putting a pin back there."
It's really crappy. Like, the first thing I would do after buying this knife, if I did, would be to pull that fucking thing out, because it's horrible looking. And I'd rather...
Not the stop pin, the lanyard.
Yes, the lanyard pin! Awesome.
Well, Paul just mentioned the stop pin.
Yeah, no. Right? The lanyard pin. That would be... Now...
What's the worst that can happen if I pull out my stop pin?
Can't stop, won't stop, right? That's
catastrophic.
I love that. I'd love that.
All right. Anyone else have anything to comment about this sumbitch? I have one other thing, but it's just small. It's just small. It's as an ending note. Joe, can you bring up the ZT0427?
Oh.
It won't be on ZT's website, but
it's Discode.
It's never.
Oh, was that the prototype? Yeah. Okay, let's look up some images and see what comes up. Got a Pinterest photo that does not zoom correctly. Let's look for large images because this is silly. Oh, hey, there's some variations. AliExpress.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. $34.96.
You never got it in the real world, but you could get it in AliExpress.
Should I be angry with myself for?
Can you find a better image other than Ali?
No,
because those aren't even the real ones. That's not the real knife. That's like,
I know. I'm just kidding.
There's a hole in the blade.
This from GunsAmerica.com.
I guess there's a hole in that blade too, but Jesus, yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of a crappy photo, but it does show off a lot of the details thanks to this glaring highlight.
Okay, so this was the prototype that started the tuned Detent system. Was this knife here? I'm guessing it was a laminated blade from the etching on that line.
Laminated or brazed? It's hard to tell.
Like it's a lamination. It's not a braze line.
It looks a little red to my eye, but that just could be the crappiness of the photo. It may very well be a laminated
looks
blade.
Like something been going funky with
it might be a composite blade. That would be a weird
place to put a composite. Because this feels like a Sinkovich.
I believe this was a Sinkovich because we were joking around that they came up with the 850 instead. And the 850, they got Todd Rexford to reel him in a little bit and collab with him.
Normal us up a little bit for you.
But the big thing about this knife that I was going to say is, like I said, this is where the Tune Detent system started. So this gives you an idea of where their head was at when they started this idea, is this knife right here. And I'm not saying that it should have died with this knife here, but...
That hollow ground is crazy deep though, eh? Is it a single bevel?
I don't think so.
No, there is an edge bevel. It's a little faint, but you can see it towards the edge here.
But I mean, like, is it like chisel ground? it looks crazy.
No, I don't think so.
No, it's V ground. I remember seeing reverse.
No, it was just ZT from like, I don't know, 7 years ago. So it was that thick. They had.
Is it just the light playing tricks with my brain?
It might be. It might
looks
be.
crazy hologram because of that
Anyway.
that shine right in the middle of the blade.
Yeah.
That might be on glue.
Yeah, a little bit of glue. Okay, so I do think that it would have been a mistake coming out with a knife that crazy looking and putting in a new tech. They really should have come out with something a little bit more digestible, which I think they did with the 707.
So,
but
my whole joke was it should have died with this prototype. But,
no, I did get that. I was going to address it. I don't think it's necessarily the worst idea, given ZT's really harsh detents, but you could also learn how to do your detents better rather than make a crutch to stick in your knives to make them work. I'm sorry, but there's so many other companies out there who are making titanium flipper frame locks that you should figure your shit out. Like, I don't know what I don't know necessarily what shortcoming they were trying to compensate for, other than the fact that, yeah, okay, now you can partly deploy your knife if you're putting a ton of pressure on the frame. Like, I don't know. Is it just innovation for innovation's sake? Like, is it just change for the sake of change?
Part of what kind of Shabazz has dabbled on a little bit, where you put some sort of mechanism in something because of loose tolerances, like speed safe, a torsion bar, spring assisted. You can get away with some pretty sloppy tolerances if you just have a spring that fires the blade out.
I was going to say you put a new mechanism in a knife because now you have an excuse to charge people a little bit extra money.
Well,
innovation.
Definitely part of that, but it was one of those, like, we've got sloppy tolerances, so let's make this mechanism to solve those sloppy tolerances so we can continue to have sloppy tolerances and we'll charge more money for it while we have sloppy tolerances at the same time.
Yeah.
I will say the one that we got to play with straight out of the box had blade play like unbelievably. We had to snug it up and actually get it to the point where it wasn't like gross.
Now, is that ZT's fault or is that their warehouse in Canada's fault?
I don't know if Kershaw Canada has been continuing to loosen off or because the customs agreement, they no longer have to do that type of thing. I'm not sure, because everything else is coming in super smooth, including cold steel knives and including other things that we had that were cinched down, Benchmates, things like that. They're not coming down cinched down anymore. So I don't know if Kershaw and ZT even have to play that game because other knife manufacturers don't. So
basically, if
on the opposite end of that spectrum, Buck's afraid to bring an assisted knife across Canada still. So we've got levels here.
Thanks. Now I'm mad about that again.
Well, I thought I'd bring that up. Pour salt in the wound.
Oh, I'm so upset.
Buck just wants you to open your knife with two hands, man.
Yeah, Uncle Randy.
You got to go against the rules to do it one-handed.
Speaking of, I'm pretty happy. Pretty happy with my quick stud, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah. You guys are fucking around with quick studs, are you?
Yeah, well, with the Buck knives that don't have one, it actually works out pretty good.
So, just a thing. This, like, as a thumb stud, this thing is gigantic. It's obscene. It's
but
like,
as something else, it's okay?
No, I just mean
yes. As a thumb stud, this thing's humongous.
It's a big old fucking thumb stud, though.
For my Lego wheel, it works perfectly.
Like
what the hell? Okay, can you guys see what I'm showing on the?
Yeah, that's
parts of.
VB Elementum, isn't it?
No.
No, someone screwed on a Spyderco. That's just funny.
Holy hell. Can you wave it out of your pocket thanks to that? That is hilarious.
That's an Uncle Randy zip tie right there.
Oh my god. There's still guys out there who are putting fucking zip ties on their Spydercos. Of course,
I just had one come through the store not too long ago. I put an edge on for you.
Yeah, true.
I mean, whatever works, but geez, there's more elegant solutions.
This is the equivalent of drinking your like 40 of malt liquor with your pinky up.
Did they stick it on an auto for that pick? Hey guys, that knife doesn't open unless you press the fucking button. So,
which knife? Oh, the Buck Auto. Okay,
I'm pretty sure. Actually, I actually don't know if it's a separate spring or not. But okay, I might be wrong on that. But that does look stupid.
Mad One Outdoors. Zip tie master race.
Yeah,
what
you
if
bet.
had I drank, that would have been a spit take. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like, don't get me wrong, there's other knives out there that have thumb studs this size, but like Microtech is the only one that comes to mind off the top of my head. Where
the
I'll still
whale
take
shark.
it over.
Do you remember the whale shark? Oh my god.
Yeah, I sure do. I'll take it over a lot of thumb discs, at least, as well, because there is some ugly knives with thumb discs on them.
Look
True,
at the
true.
whale shark. Good god. Look at the thumb studs on that beast. You could choke a child with those thumb studs. That's ridiculous. That's not okay.
I'm concerned about where your reference is. And you're saying that I say the offensive things. Like, seriously.
I'm just saying it should come with a choking hazard. These thumb studs are too fucking big. Like, just put just a sticker, you know.
Give that guy a zip tie. It's way safer.
no choking.
It won't shred up your pockets nearly as much. Although I have seen two different fixes for the zip ties with the kind of sharp corners. One guy I saw had melted the zip tie shut with a lighter, so it was all like melty plasticky.
Yeah, that's the thing you do, man.
Yeah, the other guy had taken like shrink wrap. Oh fuck, what's that called? It's the rubber stuff that heat shrink.
Heat shrink?
Yeah. He had done that to the zip tie too, and I'm like,
that is way too much effort. You literally just heat it up with a lighter, and it rounds over really.
Yeah,
and not just that, but the heat, like the shrink stuff, wouldn't that actually make it a little more slippery? Like
it does, yeah. So
it wouldn't get as good anymore.
Yeah, so like he had to like
do this.
I think he he must have like sculpted it afterwards because it did this kind of like undulation thing where it got thinner towards the base. I'm like, okay, sure, that might catch a little bit better, but goddamn, that's a lot of effort for basically no return. Not as bad as the guys who have zip tied like nuts, like nuts and bolts, like a nut onto the end of their Spydercos. Those always look so weird. Have you not seen these?
Oh my god! Are you trying to hurt me, Joe?
Oh no! I just want you to suffer the same way I've suffered. So yes, I'm trying to hurt you a little. Anyway, this got derailed.
Closing statements about a 762. Overall, too much money, and Detent is too much of a gimmick for me to buy into. So I am going to score it 19 penguins.
Are we doing that kind of score? All right.
Well, you have to put them in a school bus, though. They need to be packed into a school bus. And maybe there's a Catholic parish driving them.
As you were talking...
Whale sharks.
How many whale sharks?
0.75.
3/4 of a whale shark?
That's impressive.
But like an actual whale shark.
That's impressive.
No.
We haven't had PETA against us for a while. You got to take a quarter. Like I think
it's
do you leave his head or do you leave his tail?
No, it's definitely the back end. It's got the butthole.
Oh, gross.
I don't know if we're a quarter up to get like.
I know these things matter.
Anatomically, there might still be a butthole even after a quarter.
I think their buttholes at the far end.
It's just on the tip of the tail.
No, but I mean, I think it's towards the back.
Okay. Yeah, I think they charge too much goddamn money for this knife, so it's I don't know. God. It's 3.5 refrigerators with like a side of frozen peas, but they've been there for a while, so they're really moldy. Like, this had the potential I think ZT could compete with a lot of the Chinese manufacturers.
Paul, you're on the same page as me. Yeah, ask the question. Go ahead.
Why are your frozen peas moldy?
How do things in your freezer mold, Joe?
No. They're outside of the freezer. They're like on the curb beside the freezer. They're not in the freezer. That's again a missed opportunity.
They're not frozen peas. Now they're just peas at that point.
They were frozen. They were frozen. They were frozen at one point, and now they're not.
Joe just has a pet bag of soggy peas, soggy moldy peas.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about my moldy peas. I'll tell you. I'll tell you tomorrow about my moldy peas.
You really think highly of this knife, I can tell.
No. I think that ZT could be in a position, given that they're taking advantage of modern CNC machining, they could compete with a lot of the Chinese production stuff. And yes, they have to have American markup, and yeah, they have to deal with a lot of increased costs compared to Chinese production, but they could very easily compete with stuff like this, with stuff like, I don't know, a lot of the Chinese manufactured stuff that's using titanium, M390, all this good stuff. I wish the company would go in that direction, but they're continually going up this bougie ladder of golden blitz that I don't know, man. I like, where is it? I was considering carrying this guy as a comparison today, my 620, because this is a fantastic example of what ZT used to do.
Because
And
you can totally see the similar design language in that.
but that's, well, dude, obviously I chose the 707 for a reason, but I wanted to carry this guy because it's like, no. When I got familiar with ZT, and for a large part of ZT's history, this is the kind of stuff they were producing. And at that time, it wasn't at an unreasonable price point, for the most part. There was always going to be something that was going to be limited edition or super expensive, and I bought into those things because why not? But I don't know. They're going up this ladder, and I don't know if I necessarily want to follow them, unfortunately.
You better really like the knife. Like, that's...
The 707... Yeah, 707 I picked up, and I'm like, shit. I don't even know what the price tag is yet, but I'm going to be buying this thing. This guy, not so much. Especially not at $100 more. $100 more for the same size knife. That's kind of a bitter pill to swallow.
But yours isn't blue.
Yeah, so
you're damn right.
That blue costs money, damn it.
What, you think electricity's free?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
I had to test like 3 or 4 Sharpie markers before I got the right one. Like, it's...
All right, I'm going to bed. No.
we're not done yet. No. We did talk an hour about this damn knife, but anyway.
It's... Am I wrong to say that this is reflective of what's wrong with the knife community as a whole? Is that too outrageous a statement?
It is. It is. There's a lot of things wrong with the knife community, and this is only part of it, man. Like,
okay. This is tip of the iceberg for sure, but it's an easy thing for me to poke at, so I'm going to poke at it a little bit.
Next review idea, we review the community.
The knife community, oh my god.
Holy fuck, do we really want to do that? Like,
no.
You realize that we're part of that community. Like, it's going to make us all just cry.
it's just us sobbing.
So true.
It's just us.
So true.
Just us sobbing for half an hour before the video line cuts out. No. Fuck. It's okay. So
to do it.
Actually, it's kind of a cool idea, but anyway,
I could have fun doing that. I think it might have to be a multi-part series because there's certain things that are just going to take an entire video's worth of time to talk about. There's a lot of history involved, and there's a lot of psychoanalysis, and the fact that like this spans generations and material development and cultural development. Like, there's so much wrapped up in this bullshit. It would be
5 to 7 minutes, dude. 5 to 7 minutes. You know that blurb that Nigel used to put up that was like 3 hours later?
Dude, but I don't know. The more I'm thinking about it, it could be an interesting topic discussion. It's just, it would be so involved. And there's a running joke about how fandoms are always worse than the subject matter. Like, the enthusiasts always suck way harder than the actual thing itself.
Rick and Morty's audience is a prime example.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I like that show, but I'm not going to talk about me liking that show unless it comes up like this. I'm never going to volunteer that information just out of the blue because yeah, the fandom does suck. But that's common with a lot of things, and I think we could probably bring that into a full discussion if we really want to.
Stop liking the thing that I like, but doing it wrong.
That's it, though, isn't it? Like, it's very much that lack of uniformity, and I think that's kind of why there's a bit of dissonance with this knife in particular. It's just like, you're asking that much money for a second detent. It's just a liner with a ball bearing. Go fuck yourself. Like, it's.
I want to like the design. Other than that,
it's three liners with a ball bearing.
So close. You've gotten me almost twice tonight. But
it's 3 liners and then a subframe lock just to add a confusion to it.
Like, okay, innovation.
Come after us now. Come on. Who's going to sue us? I got everything in this thing.
Fuck. But I mean, like, CRKT comes up with weird shit all the time. Like, CRKT, yes, it's Chinese produced, but okay. Are you telling me that this knife is worth that value just because it's made by Americans in America?
I'm concerned about your idea of how machining is done.
Again,
Don't.
we've had the monetary conversation.
If it's made it with imperial imperial measurement, then it's made in American. That's all I have to say about that.
In America.
Touche.
I hate jumping back and forth between imperial and metric. By the way, I hate it.
I hope you put made in Canadian.
Made in Canadian
on your custom knives.
I should start, honestly. I just wait for someone to say something about it and never address it.
On the inside of the scale.
Oh, of course,
next to the bar graph that tells you what steel it is. Okay, I got one more thing I can throw up, and then we should probably call the stream quits, just to get us onto another topic here.
Sure.
Bring up Blade HQ, Joe.
Oh, wow, okay.
Bring up our competitor.
Well,
okay, this is an exclusive to them. Just like the Chef Tough, I don't have a choice in the matter.
0762 on the front page. That's fucking
That's
awesome.
because they just posted a video about new knives this week on Blade HQ, and they had the 762. So it's actually really, really funny that came up. But because they're shipping out to people now, so people are finally getting them, and so everyone's talking about them, not just us. We're not slow. We're only 3 days behind Blade HQ at this time. It's cool.
Yeah. So what are we looking at?
For us.
So type in the word dapper.
DAPPER?
Correct, sir.
They
did a run of these already.
Collection.
They already did a run of dappers, and they sold out really, really quickly. And they're doing another run. So that's what I was going to end on. Is they're doing another run of dappers. They've added to black micarta as well as black micarta with the black blade. So they've added 2 new options. There's 6 now instead of 4. And they've still screwed up the titanium, so I'll probably get a green micarta one.
So
I can't believe they screwed up the titanium one. It irritates me, but
they screwed up the titanium.
It's a liner lock. It's a titanium liner lock. Like,
oh, why would you bother? That's
what they did the first generation, and they were just like, well, we sold them eventually. I think they were the last ones to actually sell, to tell you the truth. Out of the sold outs, I think the titanium liner was the last one.
We sold them eventually.
That's a good looking knife, though.
Dude,
okay.
This thing was on my radar the first gen, and then when I saw that they were doing another run of them, I'm like, oh, son of a bitch. I missed the first ones. And I bet you the amount of people that liked them on the first batch got a lot of them, so these ones are probably going to last a little bit longer. Because the first run sold out super quick. Okay. Maybe the second run will roll out super quick, and they'll just have to do a regular production.
That was almost English.
That was almost English.
That was almost English.
That all that rounding in the spine and backspacer and stuff, you got my attention,
dude. Dennis,
okay,
I mean, how dare you bring this to our attention? Because now I'm gonna have to fucking pay attention to this shit.
The theme of tonight, because the theme of tonight has been the constant theme, is it's smaller than you think it is.
Cutting edge 2.25. Holy shit, that's a small knife. There's the comparison with the bottle cap.
Pleroma-y sized. Again, it's like not a big knife.
Okay. Tell me that finger coil is for your middle finger.
Yeah, it should be, right? I mean,
yeah. Smocked it up. Yeah. But better.
Look at that friggin' logo, though. Look how perfect that is.
Especially on the black blade. So here's the other thing. The green micarta one has a brass backspacer.
Oh, that's the right choice.
Dennis, you just go fuck.
Because that's the one I'm going to buy, because they keep on screwing up the titanium one. So
is it brass on all of them, or just the stainless?
Just the green micarta.
Oh, just the green micarta. Fuck. Dennis, I'm trying not to spend money.
The black micarta is a gray titanium.
Okay, I don't care about that. I want the brass.
The carbon fiber one is a blue titanium.
Look at that brass.
Yeah.
Which one I'm going to buy.
Okay,
so now they're coming soon, and I might actually be able to prepay for one if they ship to Canada on this item. I don't even know if they do.
Oh, no, that blue looks nice. Shit. And it's 20 American.
You know how I like to drop bombs at the end of the episode? Yeah.
Hat dropping bombs. I get it, because
Box Nays design. Paul just skimmed right over that. It was terrible. Dropping bombs.
That's okay.
Box Nays design.
That's okay.
Come on, man.
I thought you were making a poop joke.
No.
For
I
once.
was right on it, and it got squandered.
For once,
Find
Dennis
two
is
other people.
not
I'm
talking
gonna
about poop.
find 2 other people to groan at my bad jokes.
Can I groan at that joke? Because that was awful. Yeah, fuck. Okay, I'm interested in another knife that I don't need, but looks freaking awesome. Stock thickness. I'm kind of curious on that. They don't say, do they? Blade
Dig
width,
it.
blade thickness 0.14. Okay, fair enough.
I dig it in the same way that I dig my Tur, but different. It's
Yeah,
like a giant
To give you an
Tur.
idea, the
Yeah.
707 was 0.121. This is 0.14
Yeah,
as far as stock thickness goes, just as a
Okay, so
reference.
I don't
Yeah.
mind the thicker. I
a
kind
hint thicker than
I kind
the
of like
707.
thicker stock thickness. Thicker
But
stock
again,
thickness.
probably a fatter
on a
blade
smaller
with that
blade.
high hollow or high flat, high saber, whatever.
Is
It's a
it
high
a
something.
hollow? Oh, that would be kind
High
of
hollow
cool.
saber?
Yeah, it's higher than a cardinal.
I don't think they
Is it
say.
higher than a secret cardinal?
Oh, they like a
Nope.
secret cardinal has got to be like higher up. It's like, spades versus hearts type of thing, right? Like you're both a queen or an ace or whatever, but
You're both
there's a
queens.
ranking. Yeah. Well, it is the Catholic Church. Anyway.
You're welcome, Joe. Thank you for that.
No.
I missed the Catholic Church joke at the end back.
I even omitted the king part. I went straight from the queen to the ace.
There you go.
Also terrible, but that's okay.
But anyway, yeah, that's the thing. And it's a wire clip too. And it's not a Spyderco wire clip.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
It's good looking.
Anyway.
Where do these wire clips come from?
So on the first gen, I believe it was the titanium one, and I don't know where the wire clips come from. I'm guessing Taichung, Taiwan. But on the first run, I can't remember which version it was, but they recalled a whole bunch of them because they put the liner in upside down and it wasn't locking properly. Instead of screwing it in this way, they screwed it in this way, and so the angle on the lock bar was not coming over properly.
Upside down? How do you do that? I don't understand.
Like that, or like I can't remember exactly what the like.
Do you mean like the grind on the tang of the blade was like it was supposed to be one way, but it was the other,
or the grind on the lock face type of thing?
That's what I mean.
Backwards.
Yeah.
Not on the lock face, or the lock bar itself. And so they sent a whole bunch back and they fixed them. Yeah.
I thought lock bars are generally flat, and then they would meet up because they bend.
Or maybe
right?
maybe it was lock face. Anyway, there was lock-up issues with one of the variations. I'd have to go back because it was a goddamn year ago. And I have knowledge, but it's not that deep, dude. Like, it's serious. Anyway, and they had a whole bunch of reviewers saying this knife doesn't lock properly, and they there was one variation. I can't remember if it was I want to say it was the micarta one because that's the one that got popular.
Right. That would be quite unfortunate.
Anyway.
You think something like that would be caught, at the freaking assembly stage.
Yeah. And you can't actually pre-buy this thing. It just has an email me or text me when available. So it's going to be a mad rush. You can't pre-purchase one.
If that's the case, I suspect they expect it to be a there and gone.
Well, okay.
So there was 6 variations, and the titanium and the carbon fiber are more expensive. They lasted longer the last time. They did last, I want to say it was a week or a couple weeks before they sold out. And the micarta ones were like 2 or 3 days, and they were just like bing, gone type of thing, right? So
green micarta is the right choice.
Yes, it is. I was going to say, as remiss as it may be to say, carbon fiber is not quite what I want in this instance, because I love carbon fiber. But that brass backspacer with that green carbon fiber is just a wonderful combination. That's a cool looking knife.
I just want them not to F up the titanium so I can buy that one.
So you want a titanium liner lock?
No, I want a titanium frame lock. That's why I want them to not F it up. They're Fing it up right now, and so I can't buy it.
Yeah,
catch up.
What's that, Paul?
I said catch up.
Catch up, Joe. Jeez.
Joe needs to catch up.
So, okay, there's been a couple of titanium liner locks that I've been interested in the past. I don't know why it's not grabbing me for this model, but like the, was it the Waypoint by Quiet Carry? That was a titanium liner lock?
Okay, there is a couple. I've played with a Waypoint not too long ago, and then I played with the other skinny mini. I can't remember what it was called. From Quiet Carry.
The skinny one I quite
Yeah.
I think Fisk has one actually. Now that
So
yeah.
kind of funny. I've heard really, really bad issues with blade centering because the lock bar is not a frame lock, it's line lock, and it's pressing too hard against the blade and it makes it off centered, and it's impossible to center quiet carry
Really?
stuff. Or very rare to center quiet carry stuff from what I've heard.
That's
We
weird.
have somebody in chat that might be able to answer that question if he's still around.
Does Fisk actually have a?
But I played with
He's had quiet
one.
carry.
Yeah, I played with one 2 weeks ago. With one of the guys from the CKG group. Had one to show off, an LCN 200 with all the materials and titanium and Vanex 35
LCN
or something. Yeah,
200.
200.
Yeah. Those ones. Kruben Fruber.
There you go.
I'm sorry, but Kruben Fruber is beyond reproach.
Yes. It's definitely higher than a cardinal.
Clearly the correct pronunciation.
Clearly. I mean,
Fruited Kruben Fruber.
That's interesting because I've never flirted Kruben Fruber. I've literally never heard of the any of the quad carry stuff having centering issues before. That's that's a news to me.
It was news to me, but then the one I played with was pretty bad, and it was rock solid, and we even played with the pivot, and I watched it go left or right, and then center, and then within 2 or 3 flicks, because of the lock bar, it started to shift on you. And it was rock solid.
If
on no blade play.
If it's shifting over time after you get it centered, is that not just because the pivot's becoming loose and it needs to be Loctite in position?
Still rock solid after half a dozen flicks, and the lock bar just pushes it over to the one side eventually.
How?
Yeah. Talk to someone with a quiet carry.
I'm just trying to grasp.
That's the only reason I know these things. And I haven't looked at the forums to see if it's a common thing, but apparently it is a common thing. Yeah.
Well, that might make me hesitate on pulling the trigger on a good deal on one of those, because I've been thinking about some of those designs for a bit.
They're not that expensive, though. They're not $400 American like a ZT is.
No. This is true.
Yeah,
this is true.
You can have a few flaws in any knife if it's at a decent price.
Okay, as long as
you're using Vanex and all the materials that they're using.
If it's
like
not
my manly knife Wasp, I'm like, who gives a shit if it hits the center, if it's a little bit off, or Allen keys or whatever.
As long as it's not rubbing the inside of either handle. Cool.
And they don't. I from what I've heard and what I saw as well, is they don't ship that much, but I question the liner lock inside of a titanium instead of a frame lock too, and wondering if that comes into play about internal spring pressure instead of the entire frame holding it in place type of.
I don't imagine it should change much.
Extra pieces.
You're an extra piece.
I am more than one extra piece.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Yeah.
What's it?
Neither one of us know how to respond to that.
Well, that's all I got.
And that's a fact. There you go.
No.
Come on.
Are you feeling angsty?
Oh.
No, just angry.
I was trying to come up with another pun, but I can't. Not with the knives I have around me now.
I just love the fact that they're both daggers. Dagger knives apparently are punny.
So I will give a shout out. There's a new gentleman on the newest Blade HQ video. I don't even know his name, but with Kurt, and there's another guy with him. And overall, still new. I think he's getting the ropes of the camera thing and whatever, and I'll give him some leeway. But they were talking about a new concept knife, and he said conceptually, and I lost my shit. It was awesome. It was.
He should be allowed to do what he wants to do, because if that's any indication, that's much more entertaining.
And like I said, I think a little quiet, little observy, not quite as naturally flowing behind the camera as some of the other guys I've seen in the past. But that comment took the show, man. It took the show. Yeah. So
good stuff.
All right, we want to round this shit out.
I guess we were talking about a ZT. We had our kind of final thoughts. So
yeah, and then I throw this just as a bomb. Coming soon. I don't even think it has a date for the coming soon. I think it just says coming soon.
It sure does. It doesn't have any kind of arrival date or.
And I'm sure on social media it'll talk about it more and more, because that's where I first saw it, was on Blade HQ social media. This is a Blade HQ exclusive. Like, I don't know if you've seen, but it's the Vox Dapper knife by Blade HQ. They're getting it made for them.
Okay.
That's why when you said competitors, I'm like, I don't have a choice on this one, dude. Like,
Competing with who? They're the only ones selling it. Yeah.
A year ago when I saw it the first time, I would have brought it into my store if I knew like where I could get one. But yeah,
Fair.
so anyway, let's wrap this son of a bitch up. So yeah, thank Cutting Edge Cutlery Co. They are the ones that we got to play with the 762. There's a couple of them in stock. Yeah, it's I don't know, super lightweight. Ergo is shit, probably pretty slicey. I don't know, pretty penny.
Ergo is shit. Jesus.
I kind of like the Ergo.
The Ergos aren't bad. They're if you like the 707 and you want something more hand filling, this knife will fit that niche. If you don't like the 707, then I don't know. You might still like this knife, but
yeah?
What's that?
Does he want something more hand filling?
No.
Wow, doesn't everyone?
Okay.
That reminds me of a Henry Rollins stand-up routine involving rubber handles. That's all good.
Yeah, that shout out.
Instagram.
You should follow us on Instagram. I mean, eventually we'll make a post again on Instagram. It'll be glorious.
There's a couple things in the. There's a couple things. There's
even
some
pictures of a 762 you could probably post up. Someone took pictures.
Yeah. Oh well.
You should send me a photo or three.
Thanks again to everyone on Patreon. We do have a cool surprise coming for the guys on Patreon.
Yes.
Stay tuned over the next couple weeks, and hopefully we'll have that kind of a sneak peek on what's going on there. Also, probably going to have an Instagram or a giveaway, both on Instagram, probably on the channel as well. We're going to figure something out. That's been in the works for the last couple weeks. We just haven't narrowed it down yet because life gets in the way sometimes. So,
understatement, but yes, yes, absolutely.
I was going to say gratuitous knife shot for all the new knives.
New knives? Oh, I don't have any.
Oh, Joe. Oh. You had a North Arms and you pulled out your 707. I guess
it was the daily carry, man. Okay, fine. Where's my North Arm? Where did that go?
We're going back to that.
Okay, sure. Anyway. Dennis's reground bailout. Yeah, I had a reground Puko that needs to go pop up on there, man. Shoutouts are due.
I'm sure it'll happen. I'm sure when this thing gets sharpened on the spine, it'll end up on there.
It'll reground that too. It'll just become the reground.
Man, I can't
change the name of it though. It's got to stay as reground bailout. Not just reground knives. Yeah.
I could understand sharpening up the Shalonel's back end, but the Wii, man,
do it. It'll be extra funny when someone goes to close it one-handed.
It'll be me. It'll be me, and I'll be bleeding all over the shop.
Yeah. I'm the one you're gonna laugh at. Yeah.
I'm curious as to what happens when I do that and accidentally push the blade open at all while it's in my hand, because that'll feel great.
Oh.
But you know,
how many pant seams is Paul gonna replace before he figures it out? You know,
3. Calling it now.
And on that note,
I appreciate the fact that you think I'm going to replace the seams and not just the pants.
No, I think you're just going to tear through it 3 times before you'll learn your lesson.
Slightly more every time. Yeah. Anyway, on that note, guys, thanks for joining us. I am who I am. I'm Dennis Vipers.
I am the Iron Joe.
I'm Exile.ca.
We'll catch you again next time, guys. You take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Toodle-oo.
Oodoo-toodoo.